Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have before us some important legislation addressing this House today. House Resolution 729 expresses support for a designation of a National Firefighters Memorial Day, and I'm honored to be the sponsor of this legislation. But I also want to thank Chairman Towns for bringing this legislation to the floor and the other 59 co-sponsors of this legislation. The legislation is to honor the dedication and sacrifices of firefighters and the dedication they make every day to keep families and our communities safe. In 2007, there were 1,100,000 firefighters in the United States. Of these, about a third are professional firefighters in the sense that they are career firefighters. But the other 825,000 are all volunteer firefighters. What that means, Mr. Speaker, is that they volunteer their services to protect the community they live in and the people that live around those communities, but they have other jobs to support their families. One of the volunteer fire departments in Humble, Texas is the Atascocita Fire Department, and they still drive around with those red trucks with the big American flag on the back, something that started after 9/11. There are 30,000 fire departments that operate in the United States. And it's time for the nation to recognize and honor the bravery and create a National Firefighters Memorial Day to honor federal, state, and local firefighters that have been killed or disabled in the line of duty. These brave men and women deserve our respect and our gratitude. And the time has come for us to create a National Firefighters Memorial Day. Congress several years ago created a National Law Enforcement Memorial Day that we honor and recognize even here on this Capitol grounds every May 15th. And it's time that we also recognize and elevate the sacrifice that firefighters have made to a National Memorial Day as well. This past Easter Sunday in Houston, Texas, we had two Houston firefighters killed and people. They were Captain James Harlow, who had been a veteran of the fire department for many years, and a rookie, Damian Hobbs, who this happened to be his very first fire, and he was killed in that tragic incident. It was a tragic fire. The people that lived in that house were rescued, but after the fire was over with and before the two firefighters were brought from that house, other firefighters in the Houston area came to the home and assembled in two lines as their bodies were brought from the ashes of that fire. Firefighters are a unique and brave breed. They not only protect and serve our communities, but they're very loyal to each other. The last firefighters killed in the Houston area were also important firefighters, and their names, Grady Burke, he was killed in 2005 in a fire started by a man that was trying to light a crack pipe. Kevin Curlow was killed in a festival ballroom set by a man that was trying to get back at his estranged wife, and the building burned down and Officer Curlow was killed. Captain Jay Janicki was killed in a high-rise fire in the Galleria area of Houston, Texas, and also two firefighters were killed while they were putting out a fire at a McDonald's restaurant in southwest Houston. Their names were Louis Mayo and Kim Smith. All communities are affected by fire, and all communities are affected by the fact that firefighters, men and women that wear that uniform, sometimes are injured, disabled, or killed protecting the rest of us. Mr. Speaker, there's a fire in the United States every 20 seconds. There are 1,600,000 fires in the United States every year. Some of those are caused by accident, but many of those are caused by arson. Every year, there's an average of 100 firefighters somewhere in the 50 states and our territories that are killed in the line of duty. And some of those are volunteers, and some of those are career firefighters. In 2008, there were 118 firefighters killed in the line of duty. Of course, we all remember September 11th, 2001, which raised the awareness of the first responders in our country and what they do for the rest of us. When on September 11th, 2001, as many people remember, when the World Trade Center was attacked, when the Pentagon was attacked, and then when there was a plane that crashed trying to really protect the rest of us from an attack that occurred in Pennsylvania, someone had to respond to those tragedies, and they were our first responders. Many of the firefighters that responded at the World Trade Center went into those buildings and they never came out. Later on September the 11th, 2001, while many people like myself were watching the video of what was taking place specifically in New York City, observed that when those planes crashed into the World Trade Center, the North and the South Tower, a lot of folks, thousands of people, good people. But when those planes hit the World Trade Center, Mr. Speaker, those people were running as hard as they could to get away from that terror in the sky. And there were other people that when those planes hit the World Trade Center, when they hit the Pentagon over here, they were running as hard as they could to get to that terror that occurred at the World Trade Center and at the Pentagon. Who were those people? Well, they were the Port Authority in New York. They were New York City police officers, and they were firefighters and emergency medical technicians. And while it's important for us to always remember the 3,000 people that were killed on September 11th, 2001, it's equally important for us to remember the hundreds that got to live because those first responders ran into those burning buildings and saved other people. Of those people, of the Port Authority, there were 37 Port Authority officers killed. There were 23 New York City police officers. And there were 343 firefighters, including 41 of those who were emergency medical technicians. They gave their lives so that others can live. That is what they do. That is what firefighters do. When they hear the alarm, they know they are going to danger. But because they are a special breed, a rare breed, they do that. They do that because their community and the people, they rush into that fire, whether it's a home that's burning in Houston, Texas, or whether it's an attack on America in New York City. So we honor them by passing this resolution to give them a special Memorial Day, where every year in October we recognize the sacrifice, the commitment that these firefighters do for this country and for the people of this nation. With that, I reserve the balance of my time.